Astronaut Rick calling Earth.
Astronaut Rick on the Viking Odyssey calling Earth.
Calling Earth, are you there?
Oh, there you are, Toastmasters. Good morning. It's not morning here, but I know it's morning there. I'm on the way to Mars. Yes, on the way to Mars. I'm day number 17 out of 271 days on the way to Mars. Now, the first thing you need to understand is there is a delay in this transmission of 2 minutes and 7 seconds. Now, let me tell you where I am. At this very second, I'm 2,204,703 miles from Earth and changing by the millisecond. That translates into 5,401 miles per hour. Now, that may sound like it's awful precise, but traveling in outer space is a precise science. If you don't do the math, you'll wind up over by Jupiter when you meant to go to Mars. Now, let me, while I've got a moment, just take a break from my record keeping and show you a simulation of what the ship is like. So with your permission, here's a simulation of that ship. You can see that's interesting as can be. And it's hard to imagine how that thing goes through space at that speed. But there is nothing to keep it from going that fast. Now, let me tell you about life so far on the ship. And I've got to keep my board here because I've got to watch these gauges and I've got to report back to Houston. To date, space travel is mixed, boring, and exciting. The exciting part is when I get to take duct tape and fix a puncture in the hull. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to have to do that, but it took this duct tape, the Gorilla stuff, to take care of that. I'm on watch, which means that I watch the gauges, monitor the systems, and we do this 24/7 while my remaining 4 crew members are sound asleep. When I go off watch, somebody else takes care of that. Now, what's it like on a spaceship? It's like no other thing you've ever experienced it from. First of all, it's very Spartan conditions. Each one has their own sleeping compartment, which is kind of like a glorified, compacted phone booth with places where you pack all your personal stuff, but that's where you stay, and you will stay for the next 271 days, less the 17 we've traveled so far. The crew lives very close to one another. The rest of the space conditions are very, very Spartan, and quite frankly, thank God for air fresheners. Now, what is space like? It's cold. It's really cold. 300 degrees below zero. I don't believe anybody's experienced that. Fortunately, I got my long johns along. That will help take a little bit of the nip off it, and it really makes the difference. It's also dark. You know, when we look up into the sky and you see all those stars and so on and so forth, you'd think there'd be light in space. There isn't. It's dark. It's just plain dark. And it's quiet. If it weren't for the background noise of the systems, which we carry and wear air protection for us, you wouldn't hear a thing, and it might drive you a little bats. Now, whoa! We just went through an asteroid belt, and while I'm dialing it up so you can get a look at it, I just want to tighten up my seatbelt here, and boy, that was a little rough. But you can see this asteroid belt. We just went through this, and of course it gives you some light, and thank goodness we didn't hit anything, because had we hit something, we could have had a problem. Now, one of the things that everybody asks about in space travel is, how's the food? And people ask. Well, it's okay. You know, they make food for this and food for that, and you got spaghetti, and you got French toast, and you got pancakes, all of which have been freeze-dried, hydrated, and then come back to you. Now, that's not too bad. But consider that the people on Earth who packaged this food never had to eat their food in outer space. It makes a difference. With that in mind, I squirreled away a few things. For special occasions like Thanksgiving or Christmas or the other holidays, a couple cans of Hormel chili, some Spam Light for the lighter look, and of course for that midnight snack when nobody's looking, a bag of Doritos. The thing you have to be careful with when you're eating the Doritos, because we're in zero gravity, those crumbs will be floating around and your crew members will look and say, "What is that? Are those Doritos?" "No, those are not Doritos." Now, what do you drink? Because we're in a closed situation, we recycle all of our water. And it takes a little getting used to drinking recycled water. Now, it can be flavored with things like Tang, which they've sent up on these space missions for years. But even the Tang gets a little old. So I brought along some Diet Coke, because everybody knows that Diet Coke can travel anywhere. The only thing I'm really missing is being able to nip on my bottle of bourbon. It's unofficially not on board, but I've heard that from time to time you may be able to nip on it. Now, I want to take just a break and show you where we're going to be going. This is a mock-up of the planet Mars. Now, this is taken from about 1,000 miles, and you can see if you look up in the left-hand corner, there's a kind of a dark spot. That's where we're going to be landing. Now, it's going to be a while before we get there. We got 271 days, less the 17, so it's going to be 250 something. But it won't be long, and Mars will start to come into the window and fill the window up. Now, when I get to Mars, what am I going to do? Quite frankly, I have two plans. One is I want to plant some things. If you remember the movie Martian with Matt Damon, he was stranded on Mars and he grew potatoes. Well, I brought along seeds to grow some green stuff. Lettuce, spinach, kale, Brussels sprouts, cucumbers, and green peppers. Anything that's green, because you all know you can't have too much in green vegetables. You just always cry for more. The other thing is, and it comes, what am I going to do when I get there? I'm going prospecting. I'm going to be the first one off the ship. And as soon as I get off the ship, I'm going out and stake some prospecting, some mining claims. I'm going to look for the 4 precious metals: gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. If I hit it there, I'll be rich beyond measure. I may even take a diamond or two while I'm there. And of course, everybody understands when you're looking at places like that, the law of the high seas applies. The abandoned property, first one there gets it. Ooh, I'm sorry, what was that noise? Sounds like the signal indicating the end of the transmission window for this particular transmission. So at this point in time, I've got a couple seconds left. I want to sign off. Astronaut Rick here. Looking forward to the next transmission. Signing off.